Thank you for joining us. You are watching the news on African Free Press Television. My name is Bridget Okudili, and these are the news updates. A retired Air Commodore Salisu Abdullahi has told Justice Okon Abang of the Federal High Court Abuja that Alex Badeh, while he was the Chief of Air Staff, usually instructed him to convert 558 million naira to dollars and bring to his house. The amount represented the leftover of funds meant for the monthly payment of staff salaries, said Abdullahi, who was Director of Finance and Accounts of the Nigerian Air Force from October 2010 to December 2013. Abdullahi, who was the first witness called by Rotimi Jacobs, the prosecution, the ongoing trial of Badeh, however, said that instruction to convert the money to dollars was given to him verbally, as it is custom in the Nigerian military. The Senate has given March 22nd as the day it would pass the budget, contrary to its earlier promise to pass the 2016 budget today. The Red Chamber, which had also earlier assured that its Committee on Appropriation would lay the various reports of committees collated before it during yesterday's plenary, could not adhere to the promise. Senate Leader Ali Udume told newsmen that the budget would be formally laid before Senate during today's plenary, adding that the 2016 fiscal document would be deliberated and passed on Tuesday next week. He added that after passage, the National Assembly will subsequently transmit the budget to President Muhammad Buhari before it proceeds on Easter break for onward presidential assent. Ndume would not, however, disclose the day the two chambers of the legislature would begin the Easter break. It was gathered that the two chambers have agreed on Tuesday as a day to proceed on the break. The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has lifted the ban on regulatory services which is placed on MTN Nigeria for several regulatory infractions. But the lifting of the ban on regulatory services is no way related to the fine the Commission imposed on MTN on October 20, 2015 for failure to deactivate 5.2 million improperly registered SIM cards, for which a fine of 1.4 trillion naira was imposed. These infractions predated this fine. The letter lifting suspension of regulatory services to MTN, signed by Mr. Efosa Idehen, head Compliance Monitoring Enforcement, and Mrs. Yetunde Akinloye, head Legal and Regulatory Services, specifically stated that the lifting of the suspension is as a result of several letters from MTN to the NCC requesting for the lifting. Officials of the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) on Monday said it had arrested 4 Mexicans who were allegedly helping build a super lab capable of producing billions of dollars worth of methamphetamine. Spokesman Michel Ofoyeju said it was the first industrial-scale production of crystal meth found in West Africa and possibly on the continent. The warehouse in Southern Delta State would produce 4,000 kilograms, that is 8,800 pounds, a week of the synthetic drug, which sells for $6,000 a kilogram in Nigeria, but as much as $300,000 a kilogram in the Asian markets favored by Nigerian drug dealers. Ofoyeju said the lab completed a first successful production in February, and the agents raided it as the Mexicans were producing a second run. Only 1.5 kilograms of meth was recovered, with 750 liters, that is 200 gallons of liquid methamphetamine. Mexican's Foreign Relations Department said its agency in Nigeria was working with local authorities to confirm the suspect identities and nationalities and determine their legal status. The raid came after an undercover operation that also netted the arrest of 4 Nigerians last Wednesday. The 8th arrest happened in simultaneous raids in 2 southern towns and the commercial capital city, Lagos. The former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Yeziani Alison Madueke, has vehemently denied stories that her sister has a kid for former President Goodluck Jonathan. She debunked this story while responding to questions from the CEO of Ovation magazine, Mr. Dele Momodu. Mrs. Madueke strongly noted that stories were totally untrue, as she has no such sister or relative. She wondered how people would fabricate such blatant lies. The former Nigerian petroleum boss is currently undergoing extensive cancer treatment in London. And on the foreign scene, Morocco has threatened to pull its soldiers out of UN global peacekeeping missions in a row over the disputed territory of Western Sahara. It is furious with UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon after he used the term occupation about the territory which was annexed by Morocco in 1975. The Foreign Ministry also said it would immediately cut funding and personnel for the UN mission in Western Sahara. Up to 1 million Moroccans protested in the capital Rabat on Sunday. Mr. Ban has criticized Morocco for its angry response to its comments and said that the protest had shown disrespect to both him and the UN. Morocco currently contributes more than 2,300 soldiers and police to UN peacekeeping missions, mainly in African countries such as Mali, Ivory Coast, and Central African Republic and Burundi. The Kurdish militant group TAK says it carried out Sunday's deadly attack in the Turkish capital, Ankara. In an online statement, it said the attack, which killed 37 people, was a revenge for military operations in the mainly Kurdish southeast. TAK, an offshoot of the banned Kurdistan Workers' Party (PKK), had already said it was behind another bombing in Ankara last month. The suicide car bomb exploded in a busy commercial district and transport hub in the city center on Sunday evening. Dozens of people wounded in the blast remain in the hospital. TAK, which stands for Kurdistan Freedom Hawks, said on its website in Kurdish that Sunday's bombing was aimed at security forces and was not intended to kill civilians. However, it warned that further civilian casualties in its attack were inevitable. And in sports, Spanish giants Barcelona have cruised into the quarter-finals of the UEFA Champions League after beating Arsenal on Wednesday night. Neymar set the Catalonians ahead of the game with a fantastic goal after Luis Suarez assist in the 18th minute. The Gunners seemed to wake up from sleep in the second half as Mahmoud Elneny leveled the score in the 51st minute. Subsequently, Suarez and Lionel Messi helped Barcelona secure win at the Nou Camp with goals in the 65th and 88th minutes respectively. The Catalans qualified with a 5-1 aggregate score. In Munich, Bayern booked their place in the last 8 by coming from behind to win Juventus 4-2 in a match that saw them go into extra time at 2-2. Juventus went 2-0 up in the first half with Pogba and Cuadrado scoring for the Old Ladies. Bayern came back and racked up 2 goals through Lewandowski and Thomas Müller taking the game to extra 30 minutes. Guardiola's side were not settling for penalties as they added 2 more goals through Thiago and Coman, sending Juventus agonizingly back to Italy. And for more stories, please log on to our website at www.africanfreepress.com. Like our Facebook page at African Free Press. Follow us on Twitter at African Free Press. Don't forget to join in our discussions at African Free Press Forum and subscribe to our YouTube channel as African Free Press. My name is Bridget Okudili.